I don't know if it's happened, but when you've had to pull her off the field, let's say in high school, let's keep it now, like, something's not going well, and you had to pull her out of the game. How have you had this has it been possible to separate coach and mom in those moments when you have to say, "Hey, this isn't going well. Come off the field. I've gotta do something," and then send her back in later?
Well, I think, we actually did have a moment. I think she's already smiling. I don't know if she'll remember that she was
Oh,
laughing.
her head dro
She'll
if
remember this
you're
one.
listening and not watching, she's smiling with a head going back,
Yeah,
so
but yeah,
she knows
she's
where you're
got a
going.
she's got a magic eye roll that every 17-year-old teenager has. But I think the moment, I would say one of the ones that stands out to me that we was really difficult because it was, like I said, emotions were high anyway because it was a state championship match. Was a year or so ago. We were playing the state championship and we were up, and and Audrey has to take a lot of set pieces like corners and free kicks and things like that, and we were up, and in the moment, because we were up, the whole team and the other team were kind of like, there's minutes on the clock, not a big deal. Whereas my mentality was amp it up, like let's get one while they're not paying attention. And Audrey, being the person who takes the set piece, had the ball in her hands. So I'm losing my marbles, like, get on it, move, move. I'm like yelling at all the, and so Audrey took that as I'm yelling directly at her, like, what are you doing? You're moving slow. Cause I'm just like, I'm like throwing my hat, like, hurry up, seconds, cause I see the other team not paying attention, but also our team's not paying attention. So it was directed to the team, but like she just was like, what are you doing? Like, you're losing your marbles at me. And so she got upset with me, and then I had to like redirect and say, like, look, like, because I mean, obviously the whistle blew, she took the corner kick, nothing came of it, but she was still upset. And I had to be like, look, like, you can't go into the locker room like this. This is not, you're reading this wrong. This is not about you. This was about the team. Just take a minute, breathe, relax. Like, this was a coaching moment. This was not about, Audrey, you screwed up, and she was explaining the situation. I was like, and I just knew that from parent and coach, like sometimes players just need a minute, right? Like
Right.
you get upset and you're fired up and you just need a minute and you need space. And she needed space from me as her mom. She needed space from me as her coach, just to kind of just to calm down and realize like what had went down and that there was a whole lot more game to play. And then, I think with that time, I allowed her to find some space. Obviously, I wasn't all up in her face after in the kickoff in the halftime match chat either. But I think, that was a time where a space, and recognizing that, okay, she is really mad at me for a different reason, and so in that regard, I think space was how I handled it.
Audrey, what's your side of that story?
Um, it was definitely a heated game. There was a lot of emotions going around. I was getting a lot of just tension from my team. I put a big role on myself, and so I like to have that type of role for my team. I like to be that type of leader, but it also comes with a lot of pressure, and also it comes with a lot of pressure from my mom, let alone just like as a team as a whole. So having those pressures of a heated game from your team, and then seeing your mom throw her hat on the floor because you didn't take a free kick as fast as she wanted it to, it was definitely, obviously, I definitely think I overreacted with just like taking her reaction and thinking about it in the wrong sort of way and interpreting it the wrong way. But it definitely, in the heat of the moment, was not something I was happy about. So, um, but after we talked in the locker room, it was more of just like focusing in on the real point, was just that we needed to focus on the team. It wasn't about me or our relationship. It was genuinely just a coaching moment. And later during the second half, it was a lot better. So
But you were probably, what, 15, 16 at that point?
yes, I had just turned 16.
Okay. So a little bit of maturity, like, leader on the team, have been playing your entire life, have gotten to high school, and even at 16, it felt like mom yelling at you and not coach. So